full disclosure, I am a big fan of ASMR. I'm no stranger to getting all snug in bed and watching tapping, scraping, hair brushing, role plays of cranial head exams, role plays of hairdressers at hair salons, role plays of plague doctors diagnosing me with the onset of death, role plays of picking out colour coordinated clothes. There is a range of things I listen to get that tingly feeling when I drift off to sleep. On the other hand, there are things I do not like. The sound of loud chewing, for example. Mukbang ASMRs are completely out of the question. Honestly, the visual stimuli of a person gorging themselves on enough food to feed a village for a week makes my typically ox-like constitution weep with disgust, so I tend to skip that trigger if I can help it. And I can help it. But enough about me. The reason I'm making this video is that I think the phenomenon of ASMR's popularity is not as simple as one might think at first glance. I think that the growing need for people needing to listen and watch certain stimuli to be able to fall asleep is a symptom of these three things. 1. Psychological con. It's an indicator of society's decline in well-being. 2. Sociological con. It's a desperate attempt to alleviate the social ills of 21st century living. And 3. Philosophical con. It's a product of society's downward spiral into what Hannah Arendt calls the endless labouring cycle of animal laboras, the labouring animal who produces in order to consume and consumes in order to produce. I'll explain exactly what I mean by that later on in the video, but first, well, hello there. This is Zurich, and right now we're up in the air where we free fall into books, poetry, and anything else we decide to get into. Now that we're all acquainted, let's make our descent. Geronimo. So what is ASMR? If you're an ASMR aficionado, then describing your best and worst triggers is not something out of the ordinary. However, people who think ASMR is a form of sign language, Scotland's age rating for 18+ films, I say, mighty race, or a type of motor neuron disorder, here is a simple explanation of what it is. ASMR, an acronym for Autonomous Sensory Meridian Response, is a term that popped up around 2010, describing a mysterious tingling sensation some people experience in response to certain audio-visual and interpersonal triggers, which traverse the gap between the sonic and the haptic, that being between sound and touch. These tingles, as they're called, are described as starting in the scalp, back of the head or neck, before spreading in waves across the body, bringing with it a pleasurable sense of tranquility. To experience this feeling, or to just get a calm sense of relaxation and ease, people watch videos of someone producing some sort of audio-visual stimulus in order to relax them. There are so many different types of ASMR, from the simple whispering, scratching, tapping, slapping, or rapping on a microphone. I'm shooting out just like a star. To more elaborate videos with particular props, cool and intimate lighting, and role plays, all in order to create those tingles to help you finish counting your sheep. Though they can be done in a fast or slow manner, each individual stimulus is usually repeated and sustained for a period of time for a calming or hyper-focusing effect before moving on to the next stimulus. As you might have guessed, and though not a lot of people want to talk about it, an integral part of some ASMR videos is the sense of intimacy and personal attention that the viewer/listener gets from the ASMR artist. You might also have guessed that this becomes a bit of a problem when you consider the significance of this element of ASMR in detail. But we'll get onto that. Before that, are there any benefits to ASMR? I mean, early research says that it's kind of good for you. A lot of people report using ASMR videos to help with anxiety and to fall asleep. People also say that it helps improve mood and pain symptoms. There is some research to back this up. Barrett and Davis reported that ASMR helped 98% of participants to relax, 82% to sleep, 70% to cope with stress, and 80% to have a positive effect on mood. And in a survey study, ASMR videos showed potential to improve one's mood and alleviate symptoms of insomnia and depression. Alright, so we're good. We can be assured that ASMR hasn't any ramifications or significance to current cultural decline. We're good? Are we good? Well, not so fast there, Buster. For one, though people report that ASMR help helps reduce their anxiety and depression, a study done in 2017 suggests that this might not be the case. The study found that people who listen to ASMR and experiences those so good tingly feelings have on average higher levels of neuroticism and significantly lower levels of conscientiousness, extroversion and agreeableness. Just so we're on the same page, high levels of neuroticism are linked to experiences of anxiety and depression. Lower levels of conscientiousness, which is associated with being organized and being able to demonstrate self-control, suggests that a person lacks self-discipline and is irresponsible. And low levels of extroversion are linked to soy wimp losers who can't close a multi-million-dollar business deal or get hot chicks off the street. There are some caveats to this study. The study did recruit its participants from Reddit.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
All these traits can be explained away by saying that these people all use Reddit. People say correlation doesn't mean causation, but this might be the exception. And I am saying this as someone who actually reads Reddit posts regularly. It could also be the case that it is, in fact, because of an individual's higher level of neuroticism and lower levels of conscientiousness and extroversion that makes them gravitate towards ASMR so that they can alleviate those symptoms of anxiety and depression that they have. Look, I'm no scientist, to the point that if you said that the metal copper goes from orange to green, not by oxidation, but by boiling it with eye of newt and toad of frog, with a sprinkle of wool of bat and tongue of dog, I'd probably say, you know what, makes sense actually. Yeah, that actually does make sense. What I'm trying to say is that without doing any in-depth literature review, I have to take the study at face value. And the face value is saying that ASMR and those tingles we so love is a sign that you are, at the very least, not very happy. So, we at least know that people who use ASMR videos are using it because they are sick and tired. But why are people so sick and tired of always being sick and tired? Well, and I know this might be a cliche, but it is because we live in a society. But not just any society, but, if you choose to accept it, a uniquely modern one that has the majority of its citizens now middle class, at least in America, which is good, but also one that has, on average, people working longer hours with less job security, a more sedentary lifestyle, more fast food and ready meals, and with the rise of health anxiety, plus less access to affordable healthcare, at least in America. Soz. Sosminos. Sign the British. Added with the rise of using more substances to deal with the workload and stress of both one's job and one's, life. Added to this, people are finding it harder to form relationships now, with a quarter of people in a 2022 survey of American adults feeling anxious because they don't know how to interact with others. So, is there any wonder that people are turning to ASMR to simulate a kind of caring, kind, interpersonal relationship? Like social media in general that allows users to interact but with an equally reassuring and alienating sense of physical and emotional distance. ASMR does the same to simulate a range of relationships, from talking to a cashier to interacting with your significant other, your fake significant other, without the risk that runs in relationships in reality. Gosh, that's a tongue twister.
Some people would argue, Zurich, there is nothing intimate, interpersonal, or overly sexual about ASMR at all.
And I would say, are you telling me that this is not sexual? Or this is not sexual? This one's fine though.
Oh, but Zurich, I don't watch those types of ASMR videos.
And I would say, nor do I, but a lot of people do.
I watch,
you say,
the wholesome ones with a pretty girl brushing my hair at the back of the class, or me going to the barber's.
And I would say, cool. But we can't deny how, even if not explicitly or even remotely sexual, like giving a rock a shave, the majority of ASMR videos simulate scenarios that are associated with interpersonal relationships that give someone special attention. Moreover, the viewer/listener is able to mentally substitute the microphone or item being tapped, scratched, stroked, or otherwise touched with themselves. The truth is pretty clear. People use ASMR as a way to simulate some sort of kind and caring interaction in a desperate attempt to alleviate the effects of modern society, that being, among other things, poor sleep, anxiety, depression, and lack of social connections. Personally, it's poor sleep for me. I generally can't. I don't sleep very well. So knowing that about me, I don't begrudge the effort, but I do think that it is a sociological warning sign that modern society is suffering under the weight of its own progress. What do I mean by that? Suffering under the weight of society's own progress. Well, here I come to my final point, and it's a bit armchair philosopher, so bear with me. We're not just up in the air now, we're riding Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket ship to the moon. Wait, is that the one that blew up? No, it's not the one that blew up. Moving on, you might have noticed ASMR videos use all types of products in their videos to create a good audio-visual stimulus. And I'm going to argue, follow me here, that it is through ASMR artists' use of everyday items for video, like books, balls of slime, water sprays, scissors, which may seem harmless enough, is philosophically a clear indicator of how much consumerism has gotten modern society in its chokehold. David Howes asserts that instead of economic markets being governed by rationality, i.e. where the products are appreciated roughly on the value of their use, our markets in modern society, at least in Western modern society, are being governed by central logic. What do I mean by central logic? I mean, consumerist society encourages and invests in products that have sensuous appeal, that is, things that appeal to one's senses rather than its rational use. The ultimate result of this is that people live in a world of hyper-aesthetics, where we engage with commodities in all sorts of non-commercial, non-rational ways, but in an aesthetic way. For example, in this world of hyper-aesthetics, a spritz bottle is not being bought to hydrate your plants, but to drown your $200 mic for that almighty oh-so-good tingly sensation. As Gallagher says, ASMR culture involves repurposing media and commodities to hyper-aesthetic ends. Okay, Zurich, people buy things for aesthetic reasons more than practical reasons. So what? And so what that people use things outside the specific purpose of why it was made? Why is this such an issue? The issue is, and this is the lowest part of the ASMR cultural analysis iceberg, so well done for getting here. Not a lot of people do. So like I was saying, the issue with this hyper-aesthetic economic market, which is fundamental in creating ASMR videos, or popular ones at least, is that it is a product of society's spiral into becoming a creature that does not think, but only produces in order to consume and consumes in order to produce. See, we're coming back to it. I said we're coming back to it, and now we're back to it. How did I come to this conclusion? Well, I didn't, but Hannah Arendt did. In her book, The Human Condition. Our starting point to our argument is that in modern society, humans can essentially recreate nature however they see fit. People no longer die of diseases that would have killed them 100 years ago. People in adverse geographical conditions are growing GMO grains which would not have grown in that place otherwise. Essentially, man, the species, have become what Arendt calls the Homo faber, man the maker, the measure of all things, which sounds pretty epic if you ask me. But let's say hypothetically, we live in a world where humans don't have to adhere to reality to get what they want. Then it's not truly necessary for humans to pay attention to reality, its values, and its systems of being. If this is the case, then in this hypothetical world, reality as it is naturally loses its inherent value. What's the point of it if we can just make something up and it's as good as reality? But there is one thing that is a necessity to human life, and that overtakes this idea of reality being most important, and that necessity is labor. If we stop labour, we die. As Yar very helpfully explains about Arendt's thoughts, labour is that activity which corresponds to the biological processes and necessities of human existence, the practices which are necessary for the maintenance of life itself. Labour is distinguished by its never-ending character. It creates nothing of permanence. Its efforts are quickly consumed and must therefore be perpetually renewed so as to sustain life.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right.
Okay, Arendt, Homo faber, man the maker. How on earth does this have anything to do with using household items in ASMR videos? I'm gonna tell you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. In a world where labor and production have the most important value to humans, the best society is one that makes and consumes what it makes, only so that it can almost instantly produce something else from the resources that were consumed. This world becomes extremely consumeristic, where every product is seen not by the value of its inherent purpose, but by the different ways it can produce other things and be consumed in a way to further production. In this instance, the hyper-aesthetic value of household items in ASMR videos, where the ASMR artist buys a book, which is an act of consumption, not to read though, but to flip its pages for an ASMR video, an act of production, is only one sign of society's downfall into becoming the animal laborans, the animalistic creature which values nothing except for producing in order to consume and consuming in order to produce. And I suppose the fact that people need to listen to ASMR to gain a semblance of relaxation, ease and escape from this cold, socially alienating, uber-consumeristic landscape, using to relax the very media that is perpetuating the hellish journey towards this ultimate condition of only animalistic impulses driving a downtrodden populace, might suggest that people in general wouldn't cope very well in this final world of man's making. Okay, to conclude, what should we do? I kind of used up all my energy trying to explain why ASMR is a bad sign for society. So much so that I really don't have any answers for you. I don't know, maybe try not to buy so much stuff? I really don't know. I actually have no answers. And this video needs to go up, so. And please don't say it's ironic that I am an example of consuming a media, ASMR, to produce a video about ASMR. I won't stand for it. I won't forgive you. And if you're asking whether we should stop watching ASMR, then, well, I'm not. Girls gotta sleep. And outside the philosophical conundrums found in society's interaction with this media, the ASMR community is generally incredibly nice, I find. I suppose the only thing you can do is like the video and subscribe if you're interested in videos like these. Golly. This was a long one to make. But yeah, subscribe if you're new. Like the video, because that would be nice for the algorithm. Oh, comment down below. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? I'm honestly, I have no more thoughts about this. But I'm interested to hear your opinion about what I've said. But otherwise, I think I'm done. I've said enough. I'm tired. I'm off to listen to some ASMR. Happy landing.